Notes on the guitar. Before we start to really analyze all the notes on the guitar, you must make sure you know the chromatic scale. The chromatic scale is the 12 notes that make up all of music. No matter if it's the most complicated song or the easiest, it's these 12 notes that make up all of our music. The chromatic scale goes A, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then back to A. Now there's also notes that are enharmonic, which means an A sharp could also be a B flat. And that just depends on if you're on an A and you move up one fret, it's called an A sharp. And if you're on a B and you move down one fret, it's called a B flat. But that same note, A sharp and B flat, is the same. And within that whole structure, we have two natural half steps. From B to C, there was no sharp between those two. And from E to F, there's no sharp between those two. Those are the only two natural half steps. So it's important to memorize that whole chromatic scale. Now once you have that down, and you know the names of the open strings, by now you should know all the names of your open strings on your guitar, you could find any note, the name of any note on your guitar. And that's important because when you start playing with other musicians, they're going to reference notes and keys, and you need to know exactly where the notes are on your guitar. So let me go through a simple example of how you could start to learn the names and notes on your guitar pretty easily. Start with the open strings. Let's start with the open 6th string, the E string. Now if I follow the chromatic scale, I could go up all the notes on that string. E. And then the first fret would be F, F sharp, G, G sharp, back to A sharp, B, natural half step right to C, C sharp, D, D sharp, and then you're at E. When you get back to the 12th fret, on any string, it's the same as the open string. E is open, E is also in the 12th fret. Now I could do that with any string. Let's try it on the 5th string. 5th string starts with A as open. Then the first fret would be A sharp, B, natural half step right to C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, right to F, natural half step, F sharp, G, G sharp, and then back to A. Open A, 12th fret A. So that's the way it works on any string. So what I want you to do is go up every string and do it that same way. Go up the chromatic scale until you get to the 12th fret. And when you get to that 12th fret, it should be the same as your open. If it's not, you messed up in the middle. Go back and try it again. All right, now there's a couple of other little things I want to talk to you about, and it will help you to memorize the notes on the guitar a little easier as well. One thing is, if you're on the 6th string at any spot, like say I'm on the 3rd fret and I know this is a G note, I could go down 2 strings and up 2 frets, and that's going to be the same note. This is a G, that's a G. It's actually called an octave, and we're going to go through octaves in another lesson, so this will get you started with that whole concept of octaves. So no matter where I am on the 6th string, if this is a G, 2 strings down, which would be on the 4th string, and 2 frets up, the 5th fret, G. If this is an A, this would be an A. If this is a B, this would be a B. Now that also works from the 5th string to the 3rd string. If I'm on, say, the 5th string, 3rd fret, and that's a C note, I go down 2 strings and up 2 frets. And that's also a C. It's the same shape. If you notice how your fingers, your 1st and 3rd fingers have a shape that it makes. Now if this is a D note, this would also be a D note. E note, E note. So that will give you an easy way to know the notes on the 4th string and 3rd string. If you know the 5th and 6th strings, you know the 4th and the 3rd strings. And if you know the 6th string, obviously you know the 1st string because they're both E notes. So if this is a G, that's going to be G. A. 6th and the 1st string will always be the same. So these are just little tips to help you to memorize the notes on your guitar. Now I know it's not going to come overnight. You're not going to just practice for one day and memorize every note on the guitar because there's so many notes there. But if you use these little tips and tools and go through them every day, you'll start to memorize them more and more. And we'll be using these things, the octaves and everything else, as we go on to more lessons as well. But start with just going up each string using that chromatic scale and start memorizing the notes on your guitar.